Well, good evening, everybody, or good morning, depending on where you are in the world. In Michigan, it's cold, snowy, a little icy, and evening. So we have some folks who are going to be joining us from all over the place. We're live on YouTube, and we want to take just a few seconds. We have something new that's happening tonight. For the first time, we have a sponsor. And having sponsors is great because it means we can continue to do this live for free for anybody who's interested and everybody who wants to come. And that's fantastic. And so our very first sponsor is a great group. And it's a group I'm going to be speaking to in just about a month. It's Virginia Assisted Living Association, with huge numbers of people in Virginia that are being served by their communities. And so communities that provide residential care, that provide day support, that provide housing and services, that's who makes up Virginia Assisted Living. And I've done programs for them before, and they are a huge group of people, of leaders, of learners who are curious and really interested in figuring out this thing called dementia and how to be supportive and how to make a difference and how to change a culture. And so this year, their annual conference, it's in Roanoke, and there's this beautiful old hotel that they're at, which is really cool. But more importantly, their focus is really on a couple of really interesting topics that I believe strongly in. One is called the silver tsunami. Silver tsunami, meaning we're all getting older. And getting older doesn't mean getting sicker, it means getting older. But the thing about getting older these days is there's more variation in us than there is similarity in us. So if I put 10 2-year-olds together, y'all go, yeah, they're about 2. You put 10 65-year-olds, 75-year-olds, or even 85 or 95-year-olds together, you're going to find, wow, there's a lot of variation. So we're going to be talking about that in one session. And then in another session, we're actually digging into mouth care. And mouth care is a big deal. And it's becoming more and more of a big deal as we learn more and more about this thing called the connection to what goes here to what happens elsewhere. And it turns out good mouth care makes a big difference, whether you're living with dementia or you're not living with dementia, whether you're, well, it actually does matter whether you're getting older, that does make a difference. But what you've done earlier in your life might add in. So we want to thank Virginia Assisted Living for being a sponsor and allowing us to provide this session to everybody free, live. And if you don't mind, if you get a chance, tell them thanks. Their website's down there and their contact information is there. If you just want to say thanks for doing this, that'd be great. So then they know people were paying attention and it made a difference. So as always, thanks for the folks who are here and visible on the screen. It makes it a little more interesting for people who aren't to see some people being present and around. Oh, and Linda, you made it. I didn't think you were going to. Cool. Linda's from a way different time zone. It's called Australia. And so for us in the States, I mean, that's about as far as different as you can get. How are you?
Good, thank you. Love and Vita's here too. And it's summer here. We've just been down to the beach having coffee.
Oh, I don't want to hear about going to the beach. Hey, V, how are you?
Eat your heart out in the snow, Teepa.
Yeah, I am actually feeling really sad that you are at the beach and I am in the snow. Hey, V, how are you?
What?
Hello.
Teepa's waving to you.
Here.
Yeah, wave back.
Yeah, from Michigan.
Here.
That's it.
I'm right here. Yeah.
Yeah, the camera's there, darling. There's a camera.
I have on my scarf.
See in there?
You can see me for what it's worth.
I see you.
Cool. And we have folks from our other places as well. We have folks from around the States. I don't know where everybody else is from, but for sure we have people all over. So Corey, do you have any questions that have come in that you know we're supposed to get to? I know Linda's asked a question. So, we'll explore that if she wants to or not, as the case may be. So we'll see whether Linda wants to talk online or she wants to talk privately. Either way, we could do it either way. So what you got for me, Corey?
I did receive a request today. Someone was wanting to know if you could share a little information about what to do when someone is asking the same question over and over again and wanting a lot of details.
Okay. So we have somebody who's asking the same thing, but they aren't just asking a very small piece. They really want to dig into it. Okay, so I'm going to role play that a little bit with Beth, if you're willing to be the answerer. And I'll try to go to a significant level. So I guess, Corey, one of the questions I'd have back is, does the person seem to comprehend what you tell them? Or is it simply that they're asking the question and they're asking another question and another question really in rapid fire? Or is there some time in between where it seems like they're thinking about what you've said and they have more questions about what you've said? Do you have a sense of what the situation might be?
No, so they didn't give me that much information. And it sounds like, based on what she did tell me, that it's just a lot of questions happening over and over, to the point that the care partner is just exhausted because they keep telling and they keep telling, and it's just not getting through.
All right. Well, what we'll do is we'll play it two ways. I'll play it one way where it's a rapid fire question series, and if you pay attention, you may be able to figure out whether or not I'm actually taking back what Beth is giving me. So Beth will do it without PAC support. So she'll do a classic way of, I ask something, she answers. I ask something, she answers. I ask something, she answers. We'll finish that, and it'll be about 4 to 5 back and forth where I keep digging in, and then we'll do a repeat, because the part that I'm not able to hold on to is that I got my answers, so I should be complete. And so I'm asking as though it's the very first time I'm asking the question. But of course, Beth's brain is going, I've already answered this question, not once, but 5, 10, 15 times. And the tricky part, we'll do it the first way, is a very rapid. And we'll just do it. And then Beth and I will replay it, and Beth will modify her behavior to better match my abilities. Okay. Hey, Beth.
Yeah.
Beth, what time are we going to the thing that I want to go to tomorrow?
Well, Mom, what are you talking about? Are you talking about
the thing that I'm going to, the one where we go, where they have the music that they have, and the
Mom, you have that what's today? You have it every Thursday. So we'll go.
Yeah. So what time is it?
It's at 1:00. We'll go at
1. Now, where is it we're doing that? What's the name of that place?
So it's Music for Us. It's
Music for Us, but where? Where is it? Where is it that it's held?
Mom, you've been there before. It's at the church.
I know that. I know I've been. I was asking you where it was, though. What's the name of it?
Our Lady of Good Sorrows. Yes.
Yeah, the Lady of Sorrows. That's it. So that's where we're going to do the music thing.
Yeah.
Well, what time are we going to do it?
Mom, I said you're going to do it at 1:00 tomorrow.
Well, there's no need to be ugly about it. I just asked you what time. I mean, so what time and what place again? Tell me again.
It's at Our Lady of Good Sorrows, your church.
Our Lady of Good Sorrows. Yeah, I know that.
Your church, Mom.
Yeah, my church. And what time?
It's at 1:00. Mom, listen.
So we're doing the music tomorrow at there, right?
Right here.
Yeah. So what time are we going to leave?
Mom, we're going to do it at 1:00. You need to.
No, but that's what we're supposed to be there. You can't wait up to 1:00 to go.
Well, no, I understand that. Come look at it.
So what time are you coming to get me so we can go?
Mom, don't worry. It's okay.
I just want to know, because I want to be ready.
I'll pick you up after the program. It's at 2:30.
Okay. Huh?
2:30.
We're going at 2:30.
No, I'll pick you up. You asked me when I'll pick you up.
Well, what time are you? I thought it was at 1.
It's at 1. We're going to be there.
You're messing me up. Why are you? So wait a minute. Let's just start over.
Oh, for the love of Pete. Listen, I've got this written down on the calendar, and Rachel's cracking me
up. Well, shut up. I need to ask you something. Are we going somewhere tomorrow or not? Okay, so. All right. So we'll pause here. Now, we ended up with a fair amount of emotion. You may or may not have a fair amount of emotion, but here's my question. Are we having a conversation, or does it sound more like an argument almost? Okay, so when I'm trying to deliver a message, I cannot process an incoming message. So when we play tennis like this, we're slamming that ball back and forth across the net, but we're so involved with hitting the ball, we can't actually keep track of what's actually going on out there. I'm just whacking a ball. I mean, you could be throwing me balls out of a shooter. I'm not really keeping up with the game. I can't process the game. So I'm coming to you because of what? Beth, so what do you think it is about this event that why am I asking this to start with?
Why are you asking this to start with? I think you're aware that something is happening. You have some good memories of something's going to be happening, and it's our usual thing. But
do I like the thing we're going to do?
Yeah, so there's an excitement for it, maybe?
Right. So in my energy, my higher energy state, is my brain actually working better or worse?
Maybe a little worse.
A little worse, because I'm so excited about going to this thing that I really enjoy going to. I get energized by the idea of going, but when I'm energized, I'm putting energy out and I can't take information in. So it feels like I should be able to hold on to this because I like it. Now, when I say what you say, you can hear that in my voice. Did I get some data?
Yeah.
Was I sometimes saying back some things related to what you said?
Yeah, I thought you were doing great reflective listening, actually.
Yeah, I was, but could I take it in and actually process it? No, so I was hitting that ball back without realizing, where are we going with this? And so I would just keep throwing things back because I'm excited and I'm interested. And now what happened to Beth's emotion? Was that a positive shift or a negative shift in her emotion as more time went by? So she's sounding more like she doesn't like me. She doesn't like the conversation. She doesn't like anything. Who's going to take me to this thing? The person who's not liking anything. So now she's getting to sound like it's not going well and she doesn't want to do something. And that she doesn't want. There's something she doesn't want. What am I really scared she's not going to want? To go. Yeah. And I'm really invested in this going. And so then my brain gets a bump. Well, I wonder if you're going to get to go. Are you going to get to go? Well, then my brain goes, well, when is it? Oh, crap, I can't hold on to that. Let me ask. And so the cycle starts again because there's nothing to disrupt the cycle. And I never got to complete the cycle because Beth's emotional reaction to me triggered my own emotional distress. And I was able to hold on to almost nothing. So when someone says to me, they keep asking me the same questions, my answer back is, so what did you do? Did you keep answering the same way? I mean, which of you has dementia? If they're asking the same question, you answer the same way every time, one of you has to shift. And here's a hint, they're following your lead. So we really have to stop for a second and pause and realize we're not doing it on purpose, neither are they, but one of us has to do a shift. So what was I excited to start with? Okay, so if Beth matches my energy and then tries to bring my energy down and sort of, what is it about going to this thing that's important and uses some reflective responses to help me be able to get someplace different. And then Beth may also want to do this, Beth, in the back of her head. What's something else I like? What's something else I tend to enjoy? What's something else that's there that could be right here? Because if you don't give me something for right here, I'm still focused on this thing that isn't going to happen anytime soon. And I don't know what to do with myself until this special event. It's like, oh God, how many hours till then? 48 hours. Oh man, those are going to be a long 48.
I don't know what your problem was, Teepa. I was trying to get you to the calendar so you'd have something else to do, but
yeah, that didn't work, did it? All right, so let's play it again. Hey, did you want to ask something, Linda, before we get started, or you just?
Yes, I did. What struck me with that, because Vida has PPAs, language is hard for her. We've been practicing supported decision making for a long time. What struck me in that discourse between the two of you was that you, Teepa, still wanted to know when you had to be ready, and you never got the answer.
I didn't, did I?
It reminded me exactly of my mother, who didn't have dementia, but to know when she was going to be picked up, planning her time was important, and you didn't get that.
And Beth wasn't giving me. She said it was okay, don't worry. And
that's right.
What she wasn't picking up on, that was the thing that was worrying me, because I really want to be there. And then she's sounding more like she's not interested in even taking me. And then I'm having to depend, she's going to be here in time and I'm going to be, ooh. So frequently we see this kind of thing for somebody who's always been a high detail, liking to be in control person. And when I get dementia, it doesn't mean I don't like to be in control. I still do. And it doesn't mean I'm not high detail. I still am. I just can't hold on to things like I used to be able to. And your decision to not value that makes me feel more anxious because I know you don't give a crap. You're often late to things. You don't mind. I hate being late. So I know that about you. That's the other trick, is that I know you. We've known each other. You're my daughter. I've known you for a long time. You always come late, 10 to 15 minutes late. And that's so annoying. And that's why I would never ride with you before I got dementia, because you were always late. And I'm not going to be late somewhere. If you want to be late somewhere, that's up to you. But I like to be early, 10 minutes early at least, because then you get better seats. Because when you like to be in control, you want to sit where you want to sit too, might I add. You don't want that idiot next to you who sits there and you get in there at the last minute, you got to sit next to an idiot. I mean, that's not okay. So there's so much emotional baggage we bring with us to this. It's so easy to forget about the old baggage because the new shit is just taking you over the edge. So you forget, these are lifelong patterns, and now I'm at your mercy. Ooh. Yep, so are you. You're at my mercy, and you didn't realize that. And actually, it's not me. It's my dementia on top of me. So it makes it tricky. So let's give it a shot here and see what happens when Beth employs some skills. So hey, listen, sweetheart, what time is that thing where I go with the music thing that we go to? When is that? You're muted, Beth, so it's great. You're doing a great role play, but I can't hear a damn thing you're saying.
But Mom, you're looking for the music thing we're going for?
Yeah, the one we go to on, the one we always go to.
Oh, the one we go to we always go to that one, right?
Yeah, the one on what day is it coming up?
You're looking on so it's Wednesday.
It's Wednesday today?
Wednesday today.
Oh.
So the music program is,
yeah.
Is it Thursday? Did we go to that?
Hell, I don't know. You should know.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Now, Beth was trying to put a little too much question in there, wasn't she? So she's playing a little too cutesy for me, and I nailed her.
Well, I couldn't actually remember the date was, so that was honest.
Yeah, but it annoyed me because what am I looking for?
Information.
And are you giving me, or are you acting like you don't know?
Oh, I am acting like I don't know.
Because you didn't know, but I'm not forgiving like I might have been. And you were always ditzy and you never could keep up with anything. Now I get angry at stuff.
You're right. You're right.
I know that.
You do. You do. Yeah, you do. Let me grab the calendar. Does that work?
Okay, well, that would be helpful.
Yeah. Okay. So
now pause. So what did Beth do with, you're absolutely right, let me grab the calendar. What did she create there for herself? She did a little time out. And that allowed her to bring the energy level back down a little bit. Added to which, what's the plus of a calendar for somebody like me? Does it have detail? Can we see it? Does that sound more official than Beth making crap up out of her mouth? I mean, from a perspective, if we look at a calendar, there's visual data, it's verbal linguistic data. So I can look at two things at once. I can look and I can listen and I can look, and it's the same. So for a person who still has some language, having a visual match to a verbal, so much more powerful in getting the ball in the right place and me being able to get the ball you threw me. So you got your calendar?
Yeah, I got my calendar now.
So what's it say on there?
Okay, it looks like it is Thursday.
Thursday. And you said today was what?
Wednesday.
Wednesday. So today is so it's tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Okay, what time is it?
Take a look. Looks like it is.
Now, pause. What do you notice I'm doing and what do you notice Beth's doing to keep this coming down energy-wise? What's Beth looking at? Go ahead, Stephanie. Don't panic. It's all good. We all are familiar with finding the right place to make the little thing go away. There you go.
She's slowing down a little bit more to keep the pace to give you time to absorb the information.
What is she looking at?
The calendar, the concrete evidence.
Yeah, and what am I looking at then?
The same.
I'm actually looking at Beth looking at the calendar. Am I leaning into her or arguing with her?
Leaning in.
Yeah, because she's caught my attention. I am actually drawn into a relationship with her now because she's using good data. And I like good data.
It's like it's team problem solving.
So she's actually diverting me off of her words to the words on the paper. And words on paper seem more official than just saying things.
Right.
And it gives my brain visual intake as well as this auditory intake. And there's a better chance I'll actually take it in and be able to hold it for a few seconds here to a completion point. Because you're now giving it to me two ways and I'm holding, I can pinch it. I can grab hold of it a little bit better so we can make it to the end of the conversation without me losing what it was you said, because I can still see it.
Yeah.
Okay, so go ahead, Beth. So it says what? What time is it at then?
The time is at 1 o'clock.
1.
One.
So
Yeah,
the
1.
thing's at 1. That's when it starts?
Yeah, it starts at 1.
So what time are you going to pick me up?
So you're looking for what time I'm going to pick you up?
Yeah, to get there, because it takes a little ways to get there. Where is it? What's it say?
It's where is it at? Look like it's Our Lady of Good Sorrow.
Oh, that's the church. So it's at the church in the downstairs, right?
The church in the downstairs.
The fellowship part.
The fellowship.
Yeah. That's where it is. Yeah, that's where we always have it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So what time are you coming then?
What time am I coming to pick you up?
Yeah, to go. What time is the pickup?
Oh, it's time to pick up.
Beth, now you just screwed up.
Oh,
What'd you do?
I was diverting our attention not to the data, but to
Man, you were doing so well, and then you forgot who you were talking to, and you were making crap up. Look, your eyes were looking up. You were like praying for an answer rather than paying attention to what was in that calendar. Everything has to be. You're going to do so much better with me if we can look at the data.
You should know better.
You know better. I know. But you did a great job up till that screw up. That was great.
So Teepa.
Yeah.
One of the things that they've tried is providing notes or pieces of paper, for instance, with a holiday and some details, but that keeps getting lost.
Yeah. Yeah. Who's holding on to the calendar here?
Beth.
Yeah, I can't keep up with anything. That's part of my distress. I always was the manager of data. I had stuff written, and once it was written and once I had it on a calendar, man, I was solid. I was good. So part of my anxiety is I can't find the damn pieces of paper. And so I think people are holding out on me because if I know myself, I know that I keep up with stuff. So therefore I didn't get the stuff, because if I had gotten the stuff, I would have the stuff. And so somebody is not giving me what I need. That's not true. I mean, I did get it, but I can't keep it because I can't remember where it was. And so my brain goes, well, then you must not have ever gotten it. I have just enough self-awareness to know me, not enough self-awareness to know how I've changed. And so I'm looking around and I'm figuring out, why don't I know this? I can't look in the mirror. And I can't realize the problem is I have dementia, and that's why I can't know this. So my brain goes, well, because Beth didn't tell me. This is what she's always been like that. She could never keep up with stuff. So Beth is doing a really good job of keeping up with stuff. The tricky part, and this is frustrating as a carer, I can never get the data on my own again. So you now become the intermediary for my calendar. And what I used to do is look on my own. And now what you want to get into the habit of doing is say, Mom, let's take a look at the calendar. I think I might have written it down here, but yep, it's right here. I'm sorry, I should have shared it with you. Maybe I thought I did, maybe not. We've got to come up with a solution that allows my brain to save face, because my brain doesn't like not being smart. And my brain is smart, but it just can't hold on to stuff. So a phrase like, I thought I had said something, maybe not though. I'm sorry if I did not, I should have. So we've gotten through the data. So let's get through the data. So you're coming at what time then, Beth?
I'm coming at 12:30.
12:30. Is it on there?
Yep.
So
Right.
what's that mean you better do, girlfriend? Because I know how you are.
You're saying I better leave early?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be sitting here ready to go and you don't know what you're doing.
I know. You know that about me, Mom.
I know. So what time are you going to get out that door and get over here?
You always told me 5 minutes early, right?
No, 10. Make it 10.
10.
Then you'll maybe be on time.
Hey,
That's
Mom,
how it is.
Tell you what,
Huh.
I'll put that here.
Okay, write it down so
Right.
that it's on there. So what time is that thing tomorrow?
So that thing tomorrow, the event is at 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're looking for when we want to leave.
You're going to come what time?
I'm going to come at 12:30.
And we're going to what's the name of the thing?
Yeah. What's the name of the thing? The event.
No, not the name of that. The name of the thing we're going to.
Oh, the name of the thing we're going to. Is it Our Lady of Good Sorrows?
Yeah, that's it. The church. That's it. That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
So now's the time when Beth, I've just finished the cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Now is when Beth needs to go, ooh, hey, Mom, I have a huge favor to ask of you.
Ooh, hey, Mom,
Yeah,
I have a huge favor to ask you.
sure. What you need?
Listen,
Okay, pause. Now, why that? Why did we do it just at that moment? And why with that enthusiasm? And why I have a huge favor? Why those pieces? Go ahead, Stephanie. Give it a shot.
Because you want to derail now. The circle is complete. You want to go on to something else.
All right, so we finished a cycle and now I want to loop to the next. So we're doing this figure 8 kind of thing. So we finished that one off, but rather than go in a circle again, we're going to loop to the next thing. And we want that to be a nice solid loop. And the way to do it is for somebody who's high detail, likes to be in control, and is feeling a little less of herself, is to give her this thing that you need help with. Oh, I have a huge favor to ask. Huge favor. And ooh is real different than oh.
Yeah.
God. Ugh. Ugh is ay, ay, ay. Hey, Mom, can we talk about something other than what we're doing? I mean, that's not going to loop. That's not a way to go.
Yeah.
So that ooh, Mom, I have a huge favor. It also, what does ooh sound like? Did you just think of something?
Yeah.
Remember that thing you had back here? Bring it up and present it as like the golden apple. Look, a golden apple. Ooh, I need some help. Ooh, could I ask you for a huge favor? So go ahead, Beth.
could I ask you for a huge favor?
Yeah, sure. What you need?
All right, Mom. Your organizational skills.
Yeah.
We got to get ready for Music and Me tomorrow.
Okay. Do I get dressed tonight?
Yeah. Tell you what, even better.
Okay, so Beth, I'm going to pause you.
Oh, I suppose too long.
Now, do this. Do you want me potentially going back over here, or did you want to go someplace different?
Someplace different.
Yeah, and so what you said, let's go back to that story.
Yeah.
And let's write a new chapter. That would be very, very early in the disease, because my ability to see the different, we're back on topic again. And now I'm going to start worrying about what I need to do to get ready for tomorrow. You even said ready. So to get ready, it's like, okay, get ready. My brain, and I was role playing, but my brain was still thinking, okay, so what am I going to wear tomorrow? Okay, now I've got to worry about all the detail of what I need to wear and what I need to put and whether or not, what time is she coming? Shit, what time is the event? Oh, crap. Let me call her and ask. And it's like, no, we're back on the train. Get off the train. Get off the train. You're going to get run over. So let's think about what is an option. What's an alternative? Oh, I have a huge favor to ask of you. Listen, now what? High detail lady.
So high detail for me in terms of somebody that goes with paper, going with what you've given me.
Mm-hmm.
I went for, she likes the music, something about this, but it's organizing. I was actually going for having you organizing some of my music.
Yeah. See, probably still too close. So we really want to go a little further away, because I'm really concerned about, she really loves music for sure. But as soon as she thinks music, she thinks event, then she thinks time frame, then she goes back into that other loop, because she's established that loop fairly clearly. And when somebody says something like you've asked 15 times, that's a really strong loop. So I'm actually going to go for here's what I'm looking for. I'm supposed to make a dessert for somebody, and you are so good with different recipes. Now, when you used to do the thing where you would go to potlucks, you would make something, and I can't remember all the details of it, but for some reason, I think it had caramel and chocolate, and it was like a brownie thing. Do you remember making something like that? Because you got compliments on it all the time. Yeah, I think so. Listen, here's my question. Now, was that something, did you make it on the stovetop or in the oven? Well, you bake it. Oh, good, good. So what I'm actually doing is going to detail old, familiar routine. And I definitely want to pick something that she was successful at, that she did frequently, and has bits and pieces to it. But I'm not going to ask for a huge amount of detail, but just enough that I've got her brain hooked into a very sensory rich experience. Much like singing for many women, baking or cooking or whatever it is, cleaning. Mom, when you do the bathroom, when you clean the bathroom, you are so good at getting everything clean. Do you start with the sink or the shower or the toilet? Where do you start? Because, I never paid attention. So now her brain is totally engaged in this new high detail activity. And she has something to offer you back. And now we're playing a new game of tennis. But this one, you don't really care where we go. I mean, it doesn't matter, but you've redirected me. And that sort of completes our cycle. You go, you know what? I'm going to start now. So you think I should start with the sink. All right. If I get stuck, I'll give you a call back.
I will be remembering Stephanie's visual. That was a great visual, Stephanie. Cut it off, going on to something else when the cycle's done.
There you go. And the tricky part is you do have to get to that cycle point where we finished. Because I do need to feel complete. But then once you get my satisfaction, that momentary satisfaction, I got all the detail. Then you got to switch gears. And you can't stop there because I'll just recycle on you. And that's what people get frustrated with. You don't realize you have to do that crossover. We've got to go to the other side. We've got to open that new channel, and we've got to start a new cycle. Now, don't be surprised. Hey, Beth.
Yeah. Mom.
When you clean, you should use Comet.
Oh, I should use Comet.
It's like, and your brain may very well go, what the hell is she talking about? Comet. And you forget that that's how you got me off this other cycle. But I actually hold on to some things that you wish I'd forget.
But that's my sanity loop right there, because at least we're talking about something else.
Yeah, exactly. And so now I'm giving you advice rather than calling and asking you for detail. So who feels better?
We both do eventually.
Yeah. Yeah. So there we go. So I don't know if that's enough for people or if there's something else somebody wanted to ask.
That's great, Teepa. Jane, who's here in the Zoom room, had a question that she wanted to talk through.
Hey, Jane.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm okay.
I think that's a lie. I can tell by the way you said it, but that's okay.
It's a little bit complicated question, so I'll try and make it as fast as I can. But my dad moved into an assisted living home in the fall because he started falling. He has Lewy body dementia and he started falling. So we moved him.
With his support or without his support? How did he feel about that?
Well, it was an easy segue because the hospital wouldn't release him to home.
So did you guys get to be the good guys or the bad guys?
Well, that depends on how you look at it. He still thinks that it's temporary.
Okay.
And, you know, he broke his hip in the last fall, so he can't walk very well. I mean, he's doing pretty well, but he's got a walker, which he's never had before. He's 88. But he's really, I think he's sort of in this sort of emerald stage in your gems.
Okay.
Seems to fit sort of reasonably squarely into that.
A little lost in time and place sometimes, and
yeah, he doesn't
other times with it, but then not.
Yeah. So
time travel.
Sorry?
A little time travel every now and then.
Yeah, and also just confused about where he is and what's
happened that day, what hasn't happened that day. Did he have breakfast? Did he not?
Yeah.
Okay.
We moved him in there, which was necessary for a bunch of reasons, but we were sort of still thinking we might be able to find a way to get him back to his home. But moving him back to his home, he won't be able to afford it with the 24-hour care that he needs.
Okay.
So more and more, it's looking like he's going to have to stay. And this place is lovely. It's beautiful, and it's a great place, and the people are lovely, but he hates it. He wants to go home, which, you know, I've seen your videos about, you know, communicating through distress and that kind of thing. But
yeah.
I guess my questions are kind of related to one another. How do I know if I've exhausted all the potential avenues to get him back home in a way he can afford?
Okay.
If I have exhausted those, how do I start addressing with him that this is permanent? Because at the moment we're still on this, oh, well, we'll see when the doctors say kind of thing. And then if it is going to be permanent, is it crazy to think that we would be able to take him to his home for weekends? Is that too much transition?
Okay.
How do I figure out how all this fits together in a way that will get him, you know, what I think he wants and gives him purpose? He's a real introvert, so this community is not working that well for him.
So how long did he live in his home alone, Jane, before all this started?
About 10 years.
Okay, so he has 10 years of being solitary and only having people around when he wanted them. And what was his routine and ritual at home? How much time did he spend doing what at home?
Funny enough, his routine at his retirement home is not that dissimilar to his routine at home. He would get up in the morning, have some breakfast. It took him a long time to get his breakfast, get himself ready, washed, you know, showered, whatever, read the paper. He might go out and do a bit of yard work or shovel the snow, come back, get himself lunch, which again took longer because he was making it, do a little bit of yard work or shoveling the snow or something in the afternoon, come back, have a cup of tea, watch some television, read the paper, you know, have the night. So at the home, at his community home, like his assisted living home, the thing that's missing from that is the yard work and the, you know, shoveling the snow and that, the kind of stuff. But he really he feels now like he had a very strong sense of purpose around that house. But when he lived alone, he didn't have that feeling. He felt alone and he felt confused, and he called me, you know, 40 times a day.
Yeah. So his memory of how he was at home is sort of glamorized because where he isn't where he wants to be.
Right.
So he has an always never appearance to the time. When I was at home, I was this, I was that, because he really liked being more in charge of himself, even though he didn't know what to do exactly with himself. And he was really struggling to fill his time. So the routine was really probably 3 days in a day. So what he would do is he'd eat, get up, get organized, eat, go to the bathroom, go out and do some work, come in, rest, and eat. And so it was 3 days in a day, essentially.
Yeah.
So what he did was his sense of value and purpose. So tell me what he's doing that's physically active that gives him that sense of value and purpose. Because what he did at home was what you're describing is he took care of the outside of his home, and appearance is sort of important because he's an introvert. So he doesn't want people inside his life. He wants them to view it from the outside. And it looked like he was keeping up appearances, as they say.
Yeah. So that's exactly the problem, how to figure out stuff he can do that has some meaning and purpose. And so
How stable is his mobility after his fracture?
He's pretty good with the walker, and we have a lot of,
does he actually use the walker, or, I mean, does he use it for weight bearing, or is it this artificial device we keep showing him and telling him he should use?
No, that's what it was like at first when he was just falling, but after he broke his hip, he now takes a step and he knows he can't walk anymore. So he looks around for the thing that's going to help him walk.
Okay, so here's an interesting question that I have for you. You just said it maybe without thinking about it. Does he have pain with ambulation?
Yes.
So part of his dissatisfaction with life isn't really about the setting. It's about being uncomfortable all the time and being in pain with stuff that used to not cause him pain. Because he used to be able to go out and do this work without having discomfort. And now moving at all is uncomfortable for him.
No, he's had a lot of pain for a long time.
Oh, he has. Okay.
That leg in a motorcycle crash.
Oh.
So he's had pain in different parts of that leg for 60 years.
Is this new pain though, or is it the same kind of pain?
Pain in that it's worse and it stops him from walking, but he's consistently being in pain.
So what that says to me is, then in hindsight, when I was home, I was more functional than I am now. And we can use logic and reason and understand, well, that's because you broke your hip. And if you hadn't broken your hip, you'd be at the same level you were before. But he doesn't get that part. And so that's a tough one for him. So are they offering him any physical activity related to feeling purposeful outside? Because outside seems like that was an important piece of it, being outside for part of a day.
It was an important piece of it. The problem with here, like where you are, is when it's winter. So
yeah, but he used to scrape things. Is there a courtyard or anything that needs pushing with a shovel?
Not that I can think of.
So they don't have any outside place that he could do something?
They do have outside places, but I'm not sure he could do something because he won't be able to do it with his mobility the way it is.
If he was sitting in a wheelchair, could he push a shovel if somebody was with him to clear a walk? If he was sitting in a wheelchair for that particular thing, or sitting on does he have a walker that has a seat thing?
He has a walker that has a seat thing, but I don't think he's far enough gone that would work. Because we have tried different things, because he also took care of the inside of his house. So
does he do any supervision? Does he enjoy supervising people, or he just likes to do it on his own?
He likes to do it on his own. And he doesn't, how to articulate this? The things that he likes to do are the things that he decides he likes to do. So if I say, what about this, or what about that, or sort of direct him to something, he doesn't like it. Yeah.
No, you're being the boss of him. So I'm wondering though, hey Dad, I've asked whether or not it would be okay if we go out and we do some clearing on this walkway. Could you come and keep an eye and let me know whether or not, because you have more experience at this than I do, and I want to make sure I get it scraped well enough that it's not going to form a layer of ice, because ice I know is much more dangerous than snow. Can you come and monitor and see whether I get it scraped well enough or not?
I could give it a whirl, but I have a strong suspicion he will.
It won't be work. It won't be enough. Okay. Well, some people, that idea of being the boss of someone and helping that way is a strong reason to go try something. Not for other people. So I didn't know if he might be enough. What did he used to do for a living?
He was an engineering technician at an auto plant. So he didn't really supervise. He didn't really, he kind of did his job, right? He was before that he worked in a mine.
Okay.
Doing the electrician work in a mine. So that's why we started with inside stuff, right?
Yeah.
And the things that seem to catch him so far are stuff that relates to the physiotherapy, right? Like get your hip better, get your leg better, get your, mobility more back to closer to where it used to be. Like that captures him.
Okay.
we're doing things like creating a photo book that we've been talking about doing for 10 years with his, umpteen dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of drawers of photos. And that
What are they photos of?
Family, trips, work, just regular like photos of memories, right? Just memento photos.
Okay. Does he have ability to take those things and hook them up to a map, like for like a travel thing? Would he be open to the idea of, Dad, as I started looking, as I realized how many places you'd been, and I have a map on here, and I would love to put in, and there's actually an app you can do that you can put things in of all the places people can visit or have visited. And you can start to build a map out.
Yeah, we could do that.
So I'm wondering if that has a visual component to it and has an engineering type feel to it, where you're building something that's fairly technical. So, so this was Dearborn, Michigan. Is that where you were? Yeah. So, and what year was that? Let's see, I was how old then? So you sort of like, it's either timelined or place lined or something, so that it has some detail to it. So it takes him away from the here and now place that he is, and more into those episodes that he's better at.
And that's okay that he would only be doing that when kind of I'm there, or the other PSWs.
So we have to we have to find some other people who have similar, that we could do a similar thing with on a one-on-one. He's not going to be a group guy. I mean, the more they push for groups, the more he's going to want the hell out of Dodge. Yeah.
So we have PSWs going in now 4 or 5 times for a couple of hours a week. So a couple of hours a day, every day, every weekday. And they're amazing. They've done all your training. They're the ones who put me onto you.
Okay, cool.
So they have lots of the same kinds of suggestions that you're making that they do with them.
So here's a thought. So my suspicion is your dad isn't going to get to go back home, more than likely. To try to fund it right now across US, Canada, we don't have funding in place to allow it. By the time we could get the funding, he'd be long gone. I mean, the wait lists are so phenomenally long, or the funding is simply not available for in-home care at the same level. The cost of it is so much more to do it privately.
We looked everywhere we could think of, but it's like almost 3 times as much. And
it's almost 3 times as much. And so what you'd have to really find is put 3 people together and find somebody who's able to work with 3 people all at the same time.
Yeah.
And you'd have to house 3 people in that home. I mean, that's the current state of affairs. And that's frustrating for particularly people like your dad, who really don't seek or benefit from, quite honestly, a social environment with a lot of social. They're not those social people. That's not his world. He doesn't like it. It's not that the people aren't nice and the place isn't lovely. It's just not his thing.
Yeah.
So what he's getting benefit from is the time you and those individuals are able to spend with him. That's what he likes, and that's what's better, but it's not where he would like it. So I'm thinking one of the things to say is, Dad, we're really trying to figure out whether or not and how you would get back home. I have a question for you. What would happen if you couldn't? If you had to stay here? Tell me what you're thinking about that. Because I think before you go too far down that road, you want to know what he's thinking about that. You'll have those clear moments. When your moments are nice and clear. With Louis Body, there's wonderfully clear moments where he's absolutely right on money and he's got lots of ability. And, listen to what he tells you.
He has said in those moments of clarity that he recognizes that he can't live alone anymore.
Yeah.
But then most of the moments are, not that, right?
Right.
He wants to get back there. And
so in those clear moments, and this is what you need, Jane, not what your dad needs. In those clear moments where he gets that he can't be alone. And that's when those moments could be, Dad, I'm pretty clear that that's probably the case too, that I don't think you can live alone. And And my challenge is I've looked and looked, and it's going to be really too expensive. I don't think you can afford it to get what you would need to be able to be home right now. And I don't know that that's going to change for right now, anytime soon. And I hate it because I get that you'd rather be there. I'd rather you be there because I think, that's the place you really long to be. And I want to try to give you what you want. I think for right now, we're pretty much stuck here. And I'm going to work with you to make it the best I know how. And I got that you'd rather not be here. And I just can't figure out how to make it work differently than we're doing right now.
What would happen if I did take him home like on weekends or something and he wouldn't?
How about, do you have a house nearby or is it just his house?
It's just his house.
Okay. What happens if you just take him out to eat somewhere?
I haven't yet because he hasn't been able to get in the car because of his hip.
Do they have a van?
Yeah.
Ask them to take him in the van. You meet him in the car and you go out and eat somewhere.
Okay.
He needs a chance to escape. I mean, if he's not going nutsy for being there, he probably just wants to get out. What if you ask them if they could use the van to take him and you guys meet up where you're going to eat if they don't allow you to be on the van? Policies change every single time I turn around. So I won't say for sure that you could ride with him. Often you can't. But if you were following him there and when they get there, it's a van lift with a chair or whatever. So he doesn't have to get on and off the same way or work with PT so he can. Yeah. But the idea is you guys go out to eat together and then come back several times to see how that transition in and out of a building and in and out of a situation is. And then as he's getting more comfortable with mobility and going in and out, the next thing would be, well, tell you what, why don't we stop by the house and pick up 2 things that you'd really like to bring in to have with you for right now.
Okay.
With the van. So it's not in a car where you actually have the option to just be there. We're just going to stop by. Just on the way back, they said we could stop and get something if we were quick. And again, this all is predicated on whether or not the agency, the organization you're working with, is willing to work with you and allow him to go in the house and come back out. But it's not a stay, it's a visit. And it's got a really strong visual of let's get back. We have to get back on. It's just to stop if there's a couple things.
Okay.
And have in mind those couple things. Like there are some pictures, we were trying to finish this one section and you had some pictures and I think they're on the table, but I'm not sure. Because he's not showing any evidence. He wants to go and see stuff again. He wants to be there again. And that's legit. He's not turned around and confused as much as longing for what it used to be, but it really wasn't. But he's wanting to see life again. And he's afraid that he'll never do it. Because it was a precipitated event. He didn't get to say goodbye. It wasn't like a leave taking. It was, You can't go home again from the hospital.
Right. So if he does okay at that, can I sort of extend the stays or
why don't we go, fix a special breakfast or a lunch or whatever. Try to stay toward the front end of the day rather than the tail end of the day.
Okay.
Mostly because evenings are harder to leave a place of longing.
Right.
Okay. And having something you have to do in the afternoon lined up so that it's time, it's there, it's a relatively scheduled, structured thing that you do there, and then see how it goes.
Is it possible that it could turn into like it being sort of a cottage farm where we could go on the weekends, or is that looking like too much? Is that unlikely?
I think in the short term, I don't think long term over time, that's probably the case. But yeah, if you have that flexibility and you have that willingness to let him have a break on weekends, Lewy body is an interesting thing. It is so different than Alzheimer's. And so we have to really, if I get something that I like some of the times, I can tolerate crap I don't like other parts of the time. I'll tell you about it, but I can really put up with hard stuff if I know I'm going to get some good stuff. And what I'll do is ask you, when's it coming? When's it coming? When's it coming? But Lewy body comes in those episodes. I mean, and those episodes are bad. Yeah, I probably can't do something. When my episodes are minimal, I'm pretty good, kind of thing. And that's a reality.
Okay. So I'm kind of building into it, building up
Yeah,
to it.
and you want to take baby steps so you feel comfortable, he feels comfortable. But I would start working with PT on those transfers into the car. How long ago was fractured? Boy, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, December.
That's a really long time not to do car transfers.
Well, he gets into the van, but he can't get into the car. My car's low.
Yeah, I know. But if that's an important thing, it starts to be something, either it's going to work or it isn't. And we either get an elevated seat for him to be on or we don't. I mean, but we start problem solving it because it's important.
I didn't know there's elevated seats. That's a great idea.
Mm-hmm. There's options that people might want to think about. You might need an OT as in addition to a PT, physio.
Okay.
But they should have an occupational therapist around too, who also does some modification stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
And some of the seats are similar to what you put in a 3-year-old in, you know, but it doesn't have the arms things, but it can have an elevation to it. So it raises me up, especially for people with those hips that can't go past 90. It hurts too much.
Right. Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no, great question.
I haven't been talking to him about it, and it feels inauthentic. You know, this
Yeah.
is why he's there. So, okay, thank you very much.
I like that, actually, Teepa. The one thing you sort of cited is that idea of us as family members and patients, we don't know to ask for the other type of provider. And I think that idea that the health system said, okay, let's help fix his physiology with a PT, but now we're looking at occupation. And I think that that's a piece that we have to ourselves be advocates and learn about, that OTs do different things than the first physical therapist. That's where we're hitting the wall. That's such a great suggestion. Reminder.
Yeah, I can use the van, so that should do it. And it's like, yeah, but you don't have a van. So we've just limited his life really significantly. And if it has to be limited, okay, but have we explored whether it does or not? Is good enough good enough? And it's like, well, not really, because he doesn't get to go where he wants to go, given this structure. So good. Cool.
So Teepa,
yes,
you started to touch on this in a couple of places. And we had a question coming from someone on the YouTube channel who was saying that they have a spouse who is early onset, possibly Lewy body or Alzheimer's. And they don't realize sort of the journey ahead. Mm-hmm. Do you try to explain that?
Do they have awareness of where they are right now in the journey? Does the person have a level of self-awareness and awareness of change and loss? Or are they clueless? They don't really think anything's changed. They think they're still fine and that there are problems in the world, but they're mostly caused by other people and requirements and the rules and the stupid car. Where is that human being with their awareness?
So I guess depending on where they are, it's going to look differently.
Yeah. So let's see, who do I have? So I'll ask Beth. Rachel, I would ask you, but I'm going to ask you to have early onset Alzheimer's or Lewy body. Do you want to do it, or would you rather I toss it to Beth because you'd have to role play the person with?
I can try. I've
got. Give it a shot.
Lewy body. I'll try.
Okay. So, hey Rachel.
Now,
I want to ask you
aware or unaware first.
Aware, some awareness that things are changing and that you can't do what you used to be able to do. And
Only
that
my grandfather, he was like that for a while.
Okay. Yeah. So Rachel, I have an important question to ask you. Can I ask?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about how you're feeling about how things are right now and how things have changed. How are you feeling about that?
Well, I think I should be able to do things, and it's just not working like I think it should.
Okay.
And I think I should be able to go and drive my car, and people are saying that I ran into this truck and I fell asleep. But really, I think I'm fine, and
Okay.
I think I should be able to do that.
Okay, so right now it sounds like what you're really bothered by, what's really hard is you're frustrated that people around you and the situation around you isn't allowing you to do what you used to do, which is drive your car when you wanted to drive your car.
And I should be able to go home.
And to go home.
I don't want to be here. I want to go home. And I don't
Okay.
see why I can't go home.
So it's really hard because what you want is not happening right now.
No, it's not happening. And I don't understand why I can't do that.
You're not sure exactly why that is. So, and people have talked about the accident and the injury and why that.
But I just fell asleep and I know I ran into the
Right.
truck, but I mean, I wouldn't do that again. I wouldn't fall asleep.
Right. So you're thinking it was a one-shot deal and you want another chance, but people are saying not right now or not at all.
Yeah, they don't think I should do it at all.
Okay. So far, what have you heard people talking about? What do they think is happening for you? Has anybody said what they think it is and what it means?
Well, I fell asleep, and so
mhm.
I just fell asleep. But
So
that
you fell
doesn't happen anymore.
Okay, yeah. So you're not experiencing that anymore. And is that what everybody else is saying or just what you're saying?
I don't know.
You're not sure. Okay, so I'm frustrating you a little bit with that question.
Yeah, I'm fine.
You're feeling fine, but something's not right, and you can't do what you used to do. And so that's what people are saying. And so right now, people are not giving you that freedom to do it.
Yeah, they're not.
Yeah. So how are you feeling about not being able to do some things that used to be easy to do?
Well, it's harder to do things, and I don't think it should be that hard because it's harder, and I think I should be able to do it the way I did it, and it's not working.
And it's not working that way.
And I don't like that it's like this. I want to be
not liking it. Yeah. So what you're thinking about as we go forward, what would happen if it were to get worse and you were less able to do things? So, now it's about driving. What if it were about being able to get around in the house, like move around and get up and sit down and stand up and walk somewhere and sit back down and go to the bathroom when you want to and go to eat when you want to? What would happen if that got to be more of an issue? How do you think you'd do with that?
Well, I don't know. I don't think that'd be a problem.
You don't think that would be as much of a problem? Okay.
I don't.
So I'm going to pause because what kind of insight does this person have? Is it high or low? Pretty low insight. So is it going to have any value, even if I get them for a moment to experience? You're going to have profound loss. You will lose all your abilities and you will become totally dependent. Is that going to go anywhere of value for either one of us? Do you think? Yeah. So for this individual in this situation, exploring it further, I don't believe this individual gets the idea of dementia and what it means. And I don't see a value in digging in further because the dementia they're experiencing is already hard enough. They can't have their life. They can't have their life the way they want their life. They can't quite hold on to what it is that's making this life not work. Their brain is trying to simplify it to simple things that could be fixed. So if we could just fix this, then I could have my life back, right? So if that's the case, then trying to get them to comprehend that nothing you do will give you your life back. This is progressive and it's going to get harder and more limiting. I'm not sure it's going to help either one of us. I've given it my shot. I tried to find out. So tell me a little bit about what's happening for you. What do you feel like? How's that feeling? What would happen? And I'm not getting a sense of, oh, that's going to be really hard. It's just like, well, I don't think that's going to happen. It's like, okay, I could try to say, well, if it does, if it by any chance does, or for something else, you just get hit by a car. What do you want me to do if it's a question of keep things going for as much as I can, or figure out how to keep you comfortable and try to satisfy some of the things you like to do as much as I can. And when I can't, don't push harder to keep things going. Which should I do? Because if we haven't had a chance to do advanced planning, that's my only advanced planning I'm going to get. And I want to know which direction I should be heading. Should I head for preservation regardless, or do I head for comfort and making this be the least offensive thing it can be, even if it means not treating something, not pursuing something, not evaluating something, not pushing something? I'm not going to do it because you said if it gets to this point, I don't want that push. And then when we get to that point, I'm always looking to see, are we still on the same page, or have you changed your mind? Because I'm also willing to hear things have changed, because I don't know how I'm going to be when I get there. I think I know. And then I might change my mind. It's not as bad as I thought it was here. So don't do what I said when I got here, because I thought when I got here, I'd be miserable. You know what? I'm not that bad. I'm actually okay here. So let's think about that, not keeping it going till next time, because this time I'm okay. So it's a tricky thing, and it's a sort of slippery slope. It's a tough one. But I don't know if that was helpful or not, but that's sort of the idea, is to explore it, but don't dig where they can't go. So it's a judgment call.
It's interesting, Teepa, how when you were exploring, even though we started off, if I recall, and Catherine asked me the same question, was this the aware one or was it the unaware? And it was interesting how someone can look very aware because they've got all the stuff they're talking about that was real things that I really did. And I'm not asking to do the stuff when I was 20. I'm asking to do the stuff that I did a year ago, 2 years ago.
Uh-huh.
And it was the exploration that showed a lack of self-awareness of the limitations of the moment, the safety issues.
Right. So absolutely can't hold on to that critical piece, that isn't working anymore. And that's just like, well, no, that'll be fine. Once I won't do it again. That sense of I can control this. It's amazing how control people think, I can do this. If you just give me one more chance, this time it'll be different. It's like, no, it won't. But I can't hold on to that. You can't make me. I can't make me. Nobody can make me, because it's just not part of who I am.
Yeah, Teepa, this is also, actually, I did text Beth. I was like, I'm curious. I'm seeing this. It's one of the is someone aware or unaware? Is it really black and white 50%? Or is this sort of like when gem states fluctuate, sort of your awareness or unawareness that you notice in someone else might be shifting? So how much are we making an assumption rather than an assessment of really where they are?
Well, that's I think where people get real frustrated. She knows what she's talking about. She just talks about, she had an accident, she fell asleep. So how could she not know that she shouldn't drive? It just doesn't make any sense. And it's like, yep, you're right. It doesn't. Yeah. Doesn't this stuff suck? You can have all pieces of the puzzle and you cannot put them in the right order so that you end up with a picture. All of a sudden I've turned the puzzle pieces over and it's like you're trying to put it together with the back of the puzzle piece. That's not going to work. And it's like, well, I'm putting the puzzle together. It's like, but you got the pieces turned over. And it's like, you want me to be 100% aware. Good luck with that.
Also with, it also depends on the type of dementia. For instance, with Lewy body, again, awareness might be really accurate at some point and then very inaccurate at another, because that's the nature of Lewy body.
And I'm accurately inaccurate. It's really frustrating because I can know that I know, but that I don't know. But that's stupid. Why don't I know? I know that I don't know, but that's crazy. And it is. That's that frustrating element of it, but.
So Teepa, could I take it a step a little further?
Sure.
I understand that whole thing with what we talked about with understanding the disease process. So if we take it a step further and we're talking about different treatments, like ophthalmology wants to do needles for their eyes once a month or whatever it can be. And now they're saying no. Does competency come into this? And then the caregiver needs to make a decision whether, yes, this is really important, we have to follow through, even though you're saying no? Or is it quality of life and say, okay, they're saying no, so we're letting it go?
Yeah. So this is that thing of, if I've talked to you ahead of time and I know you as a human being, and when you say no, and I go, can we try? And you go, no, I said no. I think we need to get a little more cognizant ourselves, aware of the value of no means no. And I think the idea of, yeah, but the needles in the eye could buy you eyesight. It's like, yeah, but I so find this to be scary to a place of, I don't want something in my eye. And I don't get that the thing in my eye is what allows me to see. Do we put you through what the human being inside this damaged system thinks is torture in order to get something to work better? But every time you take me through it, it feels like you're deliberately choosing to hurt me. And it hurts in two ways. It hurts physically to be restrained, constrained, managed in a way, because I keep moving and they got drugged. And coming out from under a drug is an uncomfortable thing to do. Anybody who's ever received an anesthesia, ugh, can she say the word? No. But have been anesthetized, even just coming out of numbing on your face, when you come out of it, it's not a comfortable feeling. There's this awkward, like, oh God, I'm drooling. And then you realize you bit the inside of your lip while you were doing whatever they did. And I mean, there's so many little bits and pieces of being out of control back to being aware. So there's the physical and physiological discomfort that you went through in order to get this, but there's also the emotional pain of realizing somebody didn't trust me enough to honor what I said. It was against my will. And then you start to worry about it eroding a relationship. And what I did is I gave you my trust that when the moment came, you would represent me. Not what you believe is best, but what I asked you to be, which was me when I can't be me. I want you to remember me, but I want you to be me, not want what you want for me, but to try to represent me. And that's, I think, sometimes one of the harder things to do is to respect that boundary and to hear and know for what it means. Is it because I'm scared, or is it because I'm uncomfortable? Or if you hold me as we do this, does it make it better? Or am I done? And I say I'm done, and you need to honor my done, because I'm done. And you need to be willing to hear my done and say, you're done. No, that's it.
It's a hard one to be an advocate for sometimes, it sounds like.
This reminds me, Teepa, of a really interesting parallel I'm starting to make, the role of a doula in childbirth, where the doula becomes that sort of third party executive director of the will of the person who knows they're going to be going through something that's not going to be pleasant.
And I won't be able to think during it.
Right. And so I have made clear with you, the third party, my wishes. And you represent me when I am probably not in a place to be thinking clearly, driven in a high amygdala state of survival. Mm-hmm. I'm just bringing this into the conversation because how often is a person who's a primary care partner who says they're willing, how often are they able to really say the doula in the situation?
Yeah. And this is that place where sometimes I might have a hard time being able to say, I think I'm done. Can we be done? Tell me what I haven't done that I need to do so I can be done. Because I don't want to do it this way. This isn't working for me. And whether we acknowledge and recognize self-choice about done. I'm done. I don't like where this is going. You're making me not be me. This is not me. I'm choosing now to not. And I'm done. I'm finished. And I know I could stay longer. I get that if I did this, I could be longer, but I don't care about longer. I care about you still liking me and you still loving me and me still loving you, because being here, if I stay here, I'm going to lose me and I'm going to lose you. And I'd rather be gone. I'd rather be done and gone than do this way that we have to do it. I don't want to do this way. This is not me and it's not you. And so let's be true on that. And I think that in a very deep way is when I say no more eating, or I say no more drinking, or I say no more changing me. We've had a really hard time listening to, I'm ready to be done, versus they have dementia and they don't understand. And it's like, well, is that true? Or is that our easy way out of saying, I get what I want, because what I want is to feel like I'm still doing something for you. And we don't have answers to this. I think we're on the very beginning to having people being willing to say, I think you're still in there. And I think you're still trying to send me a really clear message. And I think I'm really having a hard time hearing your message, because it means that we're done. And I don't want to make a mistake on this, but I think I hear you. And it scares me that we need to be done. And I think there's a piece of this that it's really important for us to be comfortable talking with each other a little bit about these things, and realizing when I say no, maybe I'm saying that's the only way I can get this to be over, is not to take care of me, to give up. And I am really not hungry anymore. I am really not thirsty anymore, because my brain and my body are willing to go if it's okay if I go. I just need it to be okay, because I can't figure out how to be here anymore and still be me.
Teepa, this brings up for me another thing that you talk about, I've heard you talk about often, is that how important that team is.
Yeah.
Because it's that if you are always like this, you need that other person to have those.
Yeah. And so and this person, and again, it's not necessarily talking, it's being present and holding space for each other and saying, I'm wondering if it's where we are. And rather than, is it this treatment, or is this intervention, or is it this break, or is it that this, and instead is it that it's time, it's just time. And having that ability to feel, okay, I hear it. I'm hearing what you're saying. And yeah, I think altogether, that's what gives us the skill to really wiggle it around and explore it and investigate it to where I think it is. I think it is. Are you ready? What will you do when the person isn't here? You know that you're worn out, but tell me how you've built your bridge back. How will you get back from being where you're at? Because you're all in. You're so all in, you haven't even seen the other side of the island. And now you got to figure out how to get a bridge to get back over here where everybody else is. And there's usually a fair amount of depression or sadness that's going into this, because that change, that shift, this individual who's been the support person for the person living with dementia, I'm not, it's been so much of this, I'm not even sure how this works anymore. And I've not put any time or energy, and I don't know that I want anything. I need to grieve for a bit. But I'm going to have to build a relationship to come back. Yeah.
Hey, Teepa.
Mm-hmm.
Ann just asked the question and said, how do I keep from being invisible as a patient?
Mm. We had a real interesting, I had a session today with people living with dementia, some of our folks who are part of our core group. And they were talking about frequently when they go to see medical providers that they get discounted and not listened to. And they were some of these folks are strong advocates, and we're trying to share information. If you have anybody else who develops dementia and they're asking for resources here, let me share with you what some resources are that we've got. And we are part of a group that can support. And they were offering resources, and they were being rejected by the medical provider saying, no, we refer it to the Alzheimer's Association. I was like, so you're telling me that somebody who's actually living with this condition that this person has is saying, here's a self-advocacy and a self-help group. This might be a good place for somebody to go. And it was like, no, we've got a group, and it's called Alzheimer's Association, or an organization that was founded for the care providers of people like this. Not for the person who's diagnosed, but for the people who are. And one thing I'd say is finding that third party who is your support advocate, because it can feel like I can't go up. I don't want to go up against, I don't want to be invisible, but I also don't want to be seen as a bitch. And I use, because some people are uncomfortable being, they feel like, well, but I know I need help and I don't want to piss off my medical provider, but I also want to be present. I want them to talk with me. I want them to ask me. I want to check in with me, not being invisible, whether I'm the supporter or whether I'm the person living with. Both of us need to be present and visible. If I have a support person, that support person needs to remember they're my support, not my crutch and not my voice. They're my support. And so triangulating. And so in maybe another session, we'll actually get 3 of us together so we can show you some actual positioning techniques that help the medical provider not be able to ignore the person who we're talking about, because we position that person so that they are represented and they have to be looked at and they have to be engaged. And the supporter is truly a supporter.
So, Teepa, in that situation, that triangulation, I don't know, my mother was masterful at this. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if she knew it. When my grandmother had Alzheimer's specifically, and they were going in, and the 3 of them went in for her annual exam with the PCP, and the PCP was strongly advocating for her to get a mammogram. And my mom knew that this was ridiculous. 84, probably emerald, late emerald. It seemed kind of silly. And as she was talking, my mom was repeating back.
Let me just double check, Beth. There wasn't even evidence of previous breast cancer findings of any sort after all those mammograms she'd had up to now.
No. So now at 84, she might develop it, right? So as this physician said, you are due for a mammogram. Okay, so she was following her. And my mom said, she was thinking this might be ridiculous and a needlessly painful procedure. And so she was repeating back to hope the PCP would hear what was said. And my grandmother finally said, she goes, so let me get this straight. You're saying you are making an 84-year-old woman with dementia have a mammogram just in case she gets breast cancer. And the physician said, well, yeah. And my grandmother said, now that's just dumb as dog shit. I don't know exactly what profanity she used or what statement she used, but it was very clear. And she said, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Now, why would we? No. And the physician and my mom said, you heard the woman.
You heard the woman. That's, there you go.
She had to be that doula. Yeah. There to say, listen.
Yeah.
To her.
Do you hear what's coming out of your mouth, Doc? I mean, that's like, really? And saying it in such a way as grandma goes, yeah, no. Which was with my mom, that was a similar thing. And so they were saying, well, so we could try to go in there and get those tumors. And I said, so let me double check that I'm listening right. So now tell me what the success rate of getting those kind of tumors out of, so your research is based on what age? Oh, 50 and younger. Okay. And how old, Mom, how old are you again? I just turned 80. Okay. So how many research pieces do you have on an 80-year-old? Oh, well, we don't do this on 80-year-olds. Okay. So pause. Teepa's actually thinking in this moment, did you just hear yourself? But I didn't say it that way. I said, so what's the probability of this having a good outcome if your rates for a 55-year-old are 5% success of anything positive and living 6 months longer without intense radiation with burns, because that's what you described. What do you think the rate's going to be for an 80-year-old? What's the success rate? And he said, well, I can't really tell you. My mother said, pretty piss poor, it sounds like. And I said, yeah, Mom, I think so. And she goes, well, I don't guess there's any point in doing this then. And I said, there you go, Doc. I'm not sure there's any point in doing this then. Because it was a learning teaching hospital. And what they were really trying to do is have a new opportunity to learn and teach. And I'm sorry, but she had become an invisible entity to them. And unfortunately, at that point in her life, she did need an advocate. And that's, I think, and in answer to your question, at this point in the world of dementia, you'll need an advocate. Not because you can't speak for yourself, but they won't listen. And that advocate has to get pretty skillful at speaking truth to power. And it's about speaking truth to power. And I think we are going to have a ways to go before power recognizes it's my life. And you're here to help me, not try to take over and run it and ignore that I'm in here. We have a long way to go. We aren't anywhere near that in the culture of dementia care and support. We can't get care supporters to get listened to, who still have full articulation and the ability to say, I am the healthcare advocate and I have been appointed by this human being to advocate for her. That is still seen as second class. And so what that does is put the person living with dementia way down the line. And that's unfortunately for many people the state of what they're receiving. And we need to keep really moving that meter forward. And I'm not rude, but I'm pretty close to the edge. Corey, we got any last minutes? We've got 2 minutes. What we probably should do is thank everybody for coming in, being here. Thank you guys for asking really super questions, making observations. Thanks to Beth and to Rachel for role playing with me and for Catherine's insights and everybody who participated. Thank you for doing what you do and being willing to speak up. We'll be doing this again in a month. Again, thanks for our sponsor, Virginia Assisted Living Association, for speaking up and standing up for folks. And submit your questions ahead of time or feel free to jump on and ask. We will be doing some other things in the meantime. If you're a person living with dementia and you want to get more connected to us, get up with Corey. Corey is our connector there. If you are a care supporter and you want to get more involved there, we're doing a Monday evening once a month, partnering with the care partners and caregivers of Naples in their care network. And I do a topic related asking and question and back and forth one Monday a month. And it's on our calendar on our website. And if any of you do not have access and are not getting our monthly online journal with stuff from all over the world, please sign up and get it. That's all it is. It's a way to get information and find out about things. Corey, anything you want to add at the last minute here?
No, you did an amazing job of wrapping that up.
Oh, thank you for everybody for being here and being part of our lives. Makes life better. Thanks, everyone.